one game, but how good are you guys feeling and play down the stretch? How good is it just to get this one, even though just one?
Well, it's always better to win, but I mean, it was a much bigger game to fans and probably the players that were playing it than it was in the big picture. I mean, it's a resume game that may help us seed line or something like that, but in the big picture, you know, it's hopefully just gives us momentum moving forward in the league. But it was a fun game to be a part of. Obviously, we labored the whole game. Offensively, trying to find any rhythm without Perry the first half, and we couldn't keep their guards out of the paint. They wore us out. Ulis was great, and you know, he was so good, and Briscoe totally controlled everything early, but we kind of hung in there, and Carlton and Sheck made some shots, just kind of pieced it together, and then the second half, when it got to the teeth of the game, you know, Wayne took over. So, but it was a fun game. It was a game in which we could have made it a lot easier on ourselves if we made free throws. And Cal would say, well, we could have made it a lot easier on ourselves if we didn't have to fight through foul problems and stuff like that. And certainly Willis getting in foul trouble helped us a lot because that allowed us to kind of switch up what we were doing defensively.
And Bill, Frank said you guys worked a little bit on the change defense this week. Was it something you saw in the night?
No, we actually, you know, that's something that we always do, but we hadn't practiced it in probably, you know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and so we worked on it. Spent a lot of time, probably worked on it 5 to 7 minutes a day, and it basically bailed us out, you know, because we had such a hard time guarding the ball, and we still didn't do it right, but we did it well enough that it disrupted their rhythm.
Bill, with the way the final play in regulation played out, where it was kind of just like a last ditch to get it into Frank, were you even surprised by him getting it off and then almost sinking it to win the game?
No, I wasn't. No, it was a heave. Yeah, you'd be surprised if it went in. But you know, I don't know why Wayne didn't throw it long. I mean, that was the whole deal, throw it long. But Scowls on him, and then Poitras, who just played great. You know, he was guarding Landon, and we've used that in the past. But it was good that we got it in, and most importantly, you just can't throw it away and give him a chance. You know, and then Frank obviously almost made it.
Bill, how much is the triangle into a couple of years ago against North Carolina in the tournament? How much have you used it since then?
It's been in our package for every year. We've used it this year maybe just a couple of times. You know, to me, you know, it's you know, it's not embarrassing. I don't want to say that by any stretch, but you know, if you have to go to a gimmick or a jump defense in order to be good defensively, then you're not going to last very long. And so we've got to tighten some things up. But it is a good change of pace or you know, change of you know, momentum type thing. And then if you can get a couple of stops, sometimes you know, they get hesitant, and that's kind of what happened, I think, a little bit tonight.
Phil, how much did you feel like Wayne was kind of, it was the rhythm of the game that was why he sort of took it on like that, or it was just Wayne really willing it going into the game some? Was there
I thought Wayne today was as smart offensively as maybe he's been all year because he didn't settle. You know, he drove it, and you know, if Wayne shoots 20 shots in the game, you would think historically, you know, that would probably be, you know, 10 threes or something like that, or a higher percentage. And even though what won the game was some timely threes that he made, I think him driving it and being a factor early by getting to the rim was huge for us.
Was it like a tournament game in any way? I mean, the way that you had to adjust kind of on the fly with throwing the triangle and two out there?
Well, I don't know if that makes it a tournament game. We try that whenever, but you know, it's not like a tournament game because there's not a big crowd like that in a tournament game. But to me, it was a fun game because it was obviously great to win, but it wasn't a win at all cost deal that you had to do that. You know, of course, you know, people don't want to hear that, and you never ever want to lose. But I think Cal would probably feel the same way, and I would think the majority of the teams that stepped out of league play today probably feels the same way too.
Bill, do you like this setup? I mean, obviously not for TV, Big 12 SEC Challenge, but that you break up the league schedule and you get an opponent like this close to February, March. Do you like this?
No.
Can you expand on those thoughts?
Well, it's you know, our league is a grind. Our league became an 19 game schedule instead of an 18 game schedule because of this. I mean, it's too much of a grind anyway, you know. You know, back in the Big Eight, it was a round robin, you played 14 league games. So you can sprinkle in 5 games or whatnot, and, you know, teams get tired, and it'd be nice to have a bye week, you know, which we can't have by doing this. But it's better for our league, and it's probably better for the SEC than what the negative is. You know, like to me, if we'd have played this game and then had Big Monday, you know, the energy the kids would use, and then turn around and do that, you put yourself at a disadvantage playing in your league. So, it doesn't guarantee you're going to have success. But fortunately, we don't play to Wednesday. But I mean, it's a good game. It's a good game. But to me, it doesn't have the timing of it doesn't give it the same juice as what it would be if it was just, you know, all out. Because in the back of everybody's mind, they're thinking about this game, but they're also thinking about, okay, we play Monday, so are we going to try to, how much energy are we going to extend now to do this or that? So I think that kind of lessens it a little bit, even though from an exposure standpoint, it's heightened.
Bill, in what ways do you feel like you guys have gotten better in late game situations, kind of based on some of the other ones you played?
Well, you know, the thing about it is, if we can get to the late game, we've actually been pretty good. The problem is in our losses, we haven't gotten to the late game. And that, you know, there's no guarantee. If you play 10 late games, then you're not going to win. You're not going to go 10-0. And obviously, other teams make plays and that kind of stuff. But in our 3 losses, we never got to the late game. We never put game pressure on anybody where it came down to being tough or getting a stop or executing. The game was already decided with, you know, a minute and a half left or 2 minutes left. But you know, in close games, you know, knock on wood, historically, and even with this team, we've actually done a pretty good job in close games.
Bill, from a momentum standpoint, even though this doesn't count for conference or anything, how much did you guys need this?
Yeah, we
based
did.
on the last few weeks when they've kind of
You know, the question that Matt asked was, I probably didn't answer it accurately. Since we haven't played well of late, this became a much bigger game from a momentum standpoint. So I do think it kind of gives us a boost that we needed going back into conference play.
Did you comment on Wayne's game tonight?
Yeah, he was great. It's probably as well as he's played, or as good a game as he's played since he's been here. You know, that looked like Wayne in Korea. He was great. And you know, Ulis was matched it. I mean, Ulis was fabulous. You know, and I thought, you know, obviously we had no answer for Briscoe early, and Murray had a nice game, and I thought Poitras was fabulous. But really, you know, the player of the game down the stretch, without question, was Wayne. You know, he carried us, and he made some timely shots, but he just competed really hard.
Wayne, preparing for this game, you know, as you watch film on Kentucky, what do you think of them at the stage they're at right now compared to where they may have been a month ago?
Oh, they're good. They're good. I knew they played really well coming in here. You know, one thing about this place, you know, certainly it's a huge advantage playing at home. There's no question about that. But it's also, you know, Kentucky guys, hey, we're going to go in there, we're going to break their streak, we're going to be ultra focused, and I thought they were. I thought we got a great effort by them, especially early on. I thought that was a really focused team, and you know, I don't know the personnel, so it's not for me to comment on anybody else's team by any stretch. But Willis is a hard guard because he can stretch it, and then when Poitras plays like that, to me, they become a team that's so hard to guard because the 3 guys with the ball on the perimeter are as good as any 3 guys in America on the same team as far as breaking people down. So I like their team. I mean, you know, they obviously don't have 2 7-footers back there, but we certainly struggled scoring over their length.
Wayne credited his success tonight to Devontae and Frank. What did you feel like that they did to open up things for him?
I don't know. I think that's just Wayne being a good teammate. But I thought that they competed hard. You know, I could be wrong, but first half I could be off. I think Frank and Devontae both may have had 4 assists the first half, and so the second half they combined for 1. So it's not like they were feeding Wayne. I mean, Wayne gives them credit, but it wasn't like he's coming off their passes. But I do think that. I think that, you know, collectively, it's obviously, you know, Kentucky has their 3 on the perimeter that need to play well for them to be good, and we, you know, also have our 3 that need to play well to be good, and we weren't great, but certainly, I thought Wayne, Wayne gives us a physical presence and a leader, and I thought he did what great players do and gain points today.
Anything else?
Did you think Frank's shot was going in?
You know what, I didn't think it was going in, but I thought that, I'm decent at following the ball, and I thought that, it had a chance. It had a chance, and that's not how, although we would have taken it, but that's not how the game should have ended. The game should have been played on, but it ended amazing. Basketball, just the weird thing is, we're playing for the last shot at the end of the half, and they outscore us 2-0. And then Kentucky, comes down and they're playing for the last shot, and then we have a chance to win. I mean, those are things that I think both teams can learn from, to say, hey, worst case scenario, it's gonna go overtime and the score is gonna be the same, and we screwed that up in the first half.
What about Wayne's drive and dunk? Did you think he'd try that?
Gary, those things really don't go through my mind. Yeah, at 40 feet, I thought, he's got a chance to do that. But I thought it was a really aggressive play, and he had to go strong because Skal would have blocked his shot if he didn't go strong. So it was an aggressive play.
All right, thanks, Coach.